High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, says the big economic decisions being taken by the Tinubu administration are being noticed around the world and will create a much better investment environment in the country. He spoke after meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima on Wednesday. Up for discussion were talks on home affairs and justice, people-to-people links, and a number of issues which could improve the relationship between Nigeria and Britain in the future. Kehinde Amodu reports.
This meeting between Vice President Kashim Shettima and the British High Commissioner is significant because it demonstrates the reaction of other countries to the early steps that have been taken by the new government. Indeed, the British High Commissioner is putting it on record that his government has taken notice.
As I discussed with His Excellency, the big economic decisions being taken by this government are really important and they're being noticed around the world. The removal of subsidy, the exchange rate reform, all of that creates a much better investment environment. And I was in London last week. I was briefing my ministers, but I was also talking to British business in the finance, banking, investment sectors. And they are responding very positively to these first decisions.
Of course, these decisions have resulted in some hardship in Nigeria, a fact that the British High Commissioner acknowledges.
We know that there are tough times that are going on at the moment, inflation and unemployment. And the Vice President and I also touched on some of the measures that might be possible to cushion the blow of some of these economic pressures. But I think the big issue is that these reforms help put Nigeria on a higher growth path. They will attract more investment.
It is an opportunity to get the British government's perspective on recent restrictions on Nigerian students bringing their dependents to the UK.
That's partly because not just from Nigeria, but from many parts of the world, many more students are trying to bring their dependents with them. And I think that there are two issues here. The first is it's not always possible to find the housing and services to meet all the needs of all our existing student population. And secondly, I think reasonable people would accept that we have to manage our visitor numbers and then we have to manage migration in and out of the UK, just as the Nigerian government does for your own borders.
The British government is commending the Nigerian government's economic policies, which it believes will put the country on the right path of growth. Of course, it is speaking from the viewpoint of its national interest, which means the Nigerian government must find a balance that will take into consideration the interest of its people. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.